Good morning. Good morning, sir. National anthem, please. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's colony, land, with love and the of our healing name, to serve one nation mountain free.
Your Excellency is the best public sector. National
Standards for Students, a coalition of civil society organizations.
President, for a corruption-free Nigeria. This one.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, independent corrupt practices and other related
Enforcement, prevention, and public education, and 2018, it organized
and the chairman of ICPC.
Participating. Thank you.
Law and we can in the war against corruption.
Welcome. There's the boss, Mustafa, who is the second. My pleasure at this point to invite
Your Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari.
steps of its predecessors by improving on the mandate of the Commission. Some new initiatives include the
option. The first intervention of between theme of the celebration.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Yes, wait.
This year marks two significant hallmarks in the history of our country. A few days from now, we will, by the grace of God, be celebrating Nigeria's 60th anniversary as an independent, sovereign nation. This summit also commemorates the 20th anniversary of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission. The Commission emerged as part of the measures that successive administrations in Nigeria have put in place over the years to fight corruption. As military head of state, I fought corruption headlong and held public officers who abused their offices or misused public funds to account. Furthermore, I introduced the war against indiscipline, one of various cardinal objectives was promotion of our cherished culture of ethical conduct, integrity, and hard work. I recognize in 1984, as I do even more now, that corruption poses a clear danger to Nigeria. So, we cannot relent in efforts to eradicate it from our society. As I have often reminded Nigerians, I quote, "If we do not kill corruption, corruption will kill Nigeria," unquote. In my inaugural speech in 2015, I affirmed the determination of this administration to rebuild and reform the public service to become more effective and serviceable. I charge public servants to apply themselves with integrity to stabilize the system and solicited the cooperation of the legislative arm to maintain their brief of making laws and carrying out oversight functions. In the same speech, I called for the reform of the judicial system and for the judiciary to act with dispatch in cases, especially cases on corruption, serious financial crimes, and abuse of office. I believe that it is when the three arms and the three levels of government work together that government will be enabled to serve the country. We will also see the positive impact of our efforts reaching all and sundry across the country. Bearing this critical factor in mind, I am happy that the theme of this year's summit by ICPC is Together Against Corruption. I am aware that this theme derives from the theme of our 60th anniversary celebration. Together as a nation, as a people, the three arms and three tiers of government working together, we can attack corruption and realize the vast potentials of our country. I said in my speech at the 2018 NBA Annual General Conference that one of the challenges we face in delivering the expectation of our citizens is how to transform our society from one in which impunity in the management of national resources is the norm to one in which a culture of accountability and transparency prevails. We need to deploy resources to address our common needs rather than the greed of careless few. We need a corruption-free public sector to achieve this transformation. We need a judicial system that dispenses justice without undue delay and technicality. We need laws and legal system to be reformed to deliver justice to every citizen without regard to status. And finally, we need ethical reorientation of the people to achieve this goal. When we work together against corruption, we can defeat it. I want to commend the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the ICPC for organizing this summit and including in the program an opportunity for the three arms of government to indicate their roles in meeting the aspiration of Nigerians to have a corruption-free society. I am particularly pleased by the recognition and participation of young Nigerians and non-state actors, especially the media and civil society at this event, because nobody must be left behind and all hands must be on deck in the fight against corruption. I wish to reiterate the role of preventive measures and public education and enlightenment against corruption. This government, though through the Open Treasury Initiative, Treasury Single Account, Government Integrity, Financial Management Information System, Bank Verification Number, and many more, is implementing different corruption prevention measures to track and retain government revenue for the use of the people. I commend the ICPC for its enforcement and prevention measures, including system review of capital and personal budget, regular analysis of the Open Treasury platform, enforcement action against diversion and mismanagement of public funds, working with FIRS to increase the number of companies and persons within the tax net, tracking of constituency project budget utilization for the benefit of ordinary Nigerians, and its monitoring of implementation of budget by the executive in key sectors like agriculture sector. The ICPC system studies and review, ethics and integrity compliance scorecard of MDAs are excellent preventive measures for detection of early warning signs of vulnerability of MDAs to corruption, and a way of assisting government take note of MDAs that are prone to corruption and deserve closer scrutiny of government and law enforcement agencies. I note that ICPC is documenting its work, achievements, and recommendations to government. I am happy to present the book marking its 20th anniversary titled ICPC and the War Against Corruption in Nigeria, Reflections for a New Vision, and 6 other publications, including the Nigerian Corruption Index, Constituency and Executive Projects, Tracking Initiative Interim Report 2020, the Ethics and Integrity Compliance Scorecard of MDAs 2020, Accountability for Security Votes, and Eradicating Electoral Corruption and Vote Buying. I am also happy to recognize winners of ICPC Youth Music and Essay competitions on promotion of anti-corruption values. The music and essay competitions organized by ICPC show the true character and grit of Nigerian youth. I urge them to seize the moment and also stand together with one voice against corruption. Let me use this opportunity to recognize and commend Opeyemi Peter Adeboye as winner of the Anti-Corruption Music Award, Chikezi Favor, winner of Junior Secondary School Competition, and Matilda Daniels, winner of the Senior Secondary School Competition. As I mentioned earlier, the importance of the public service to our anti-corruption effort. I am therefore extremely delighted to recognize and present the 2020 Public Service Integrity Awards to 2 honest public servants who have demonstrated the will to look away from graft and corruption. CSP Francis Osagi Erabo of the Nigeria Police and Hamza Adamu Buhari of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment are both recognized and acknowledged as worthy Nigerians, public servants who make us proud. I congratulate all the awardees. Even though COVID-19 has not permitted the kind of ceremony that you deserve, Nigeria is proud of you. You are a pride to your families, institutions, and Nigeria. These public service awards remind us of the need for value reorientation and revival of ethics and integrity in national life. I am happy that the ICPC, in collaboration with the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and National Orientation Agency, worked together to prepare and present the National Ethics and Integrity Policy to the Federal Executive Council as part of the commemorative activities for Nigeria at 60. Federal Executive Council adopted this policy on the 19th of August 2020. I commend the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, ICPC, and National Orientation Agency for bringing to fruition this important priority objective of this administration. The National Ethics and Integrity Policy Project, government's aspirations for rediscovery of our cherished traditional ethical values of honesty, integrity, hard work, truth and justice, unity, faith, and consideration for one another irrespective of status or background. Corruption and corruptive tendencies are abhorrent to these core ethical values. We must all join hands together to fight corruption and return to our traditional values of honesty and integrity. I hereby use the opportunity of this summit to launch the National Ethics and Integrity Policy as a fresh roadmap to return Nigeria to these critical national values. Finally, let me use this opportunity to congratulate all Nigerians on our 60th anniversary and ICPC on its 20th anniversary. I urge all Nigerians participating in this summit to come up with recommendations on ways to further enforce our laws and prevent corruption in the public sector in Nigeria. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I bring warm felicitations from the National Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. First, let me congratulate the President and all Nigerians on the 60th anniversary of our nation and ICPC on its 20th anniversary. We are particularly delighted by the theme of this year's theme of ICPC Summit, which is Together Against Corruption, because it stresses that fighting corruption is our collective responsibility. And this was very amply demonstrated by the actions of the legislature and the executive in the fourth session of the National Assembly, when the bill to establish the ICPC was passed and signed by the then executive. So congratulations to the legislature and the executive in partnership. The 9th National Assembly was inaugurated on 11th June 2019. At our inauguration, we stressed that we will maintain a cordial relationship between the two chambers of the National Assembly and work together with the executive and judicial arms of government towards the realization of the yearnings of the people of Nigeria. This is without compromising on the doctrine of separation of powers. We have kept our words and ensured the necessary synergy, particularly between the legislature and the executive. Since then, the partnership has yielded improved service delivery, transparency, and accountability in the utilization of approved funds in our budgets. This partnership has been working and should be supported by all at all times. Sections 4, subsections 1 and 2 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, vest the legislative powers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on the National Assembly. As a conscious and patriotic assembly, the 9th National Assembly has passed several important legislations to advance the social and economic well-being of our country. Some of these bills that were passed that have received presidential assent contain important anti-corruption components. For example, the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 is of particular significance because sections 119 to 123 of the Act have, for the first time in the history of this country, made provisions for establishment of beneficial ownership register. This has far-reaching implications for control of corruption, money laundering, and investigation of assets by anti-corruption agencies. Part of the critical anti-corruption function of the National Assembly is oversight function. In furtherance of its anti-corruption mandate and the directive principle of state policy of eradicating corruption in Section 15, subsection 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, the 9th National Assembly have, through committees of both chambers of the National Assembly, leverage on the power of oversight and public hearing. Exercise of these functions is part of the demands of transparency, accountability, and open governance that are vital components of the change agenda. Public hearings and the revelations they generate should be seen as part of the legislature's contribution to the war against corruption in Nigeria. I therefore call on Nigerians to support legislative investigations and urge heads of ministries, departments, and agencies to respect and honor invitations by relevant committees of the National Assembly in this all-important task of governance. The prize of leadership is certainly openness and transparency. The National Assembly will continue to shine the light on any MDA or government procedure that lacks transparency. I commend the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and indeed, and the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission ICPC for organizing this second National Summit on Diminishing Corruption. I also commend the ICPC for a spirit of collaboration with other institutions of government. ICPC organized a retreat with anti-corruption committees of the National Assembly recently to intensify synergy with the legislature. As the theme of the summit suggests, we need to work together as Nigerians, as arms and institutions of government to roll back corruption in our country. I believe that we can achieve our targets with a united front. I urge this summit to come up with actionable steps to rid Nigeria of corruption and forward proposals requiring legislation to the National Assembly for action. We shall endeavor to live up to the yearnings and aspirations of the Nigerian people at all times. Once again, congratulations, Nigeria. Congratulations, Mr. President. Congratulations, ICPC. Thank you for listening.
And corrupt practices. And the successful virtual hosting of the second summit on diminishing corruption in the public sector. The journey has not been an easy one. It has daunting challenges and unpleasant moments had emerged at different times to test the resolve to fight corruption to a standstill. Your scorecard by all standards is fascinating and portends more glorious days ahead. In every nation, including the developed ones, the fight against corruption has never and will never be an easy one. In most cases, if the dynamics of combat are not properly engaged, fight back, and then the whole scenario becomes complicated. To make a remarkable impact in this enterprise, the political will must be coherently defined and emboldened to avoid any impediments and suspicion, as the general populace is often contemplated or is tempted to attribute it to a deliberate and orchestrated witch hunt for perceived political or business force. Permit me to align this train of thought with the quote from the great work of Daniel As, where he stated, "What mattered was not what happens to you, but how you handle it." Self-command is required to overcome the dangerous misinformation of our emotions, and because for the most part, the self is the only thing that we can command. We have no control, ultimately, over what people do or think. What we can influence is our understanding of these circumstances and how we respond to them. Unquote. The fight against corruption, Your Excellency, should be waged without recourse to any extraneous considerations, creed or race. Any action or policy that is laced with sentiments hardly makes meaningful impact. And incidentally, that has been the bane of some of our policies, failures in our nation. It is now incumbent on us at this turn of events to introspect with a view to evolving a new well-encompassing strategy so that we can wholeheartedly win the trust and support of the Nigerian masses. We should endeavor to be people-centric and all-inclusive in our approach to every issue and the policy bordering on the Nigerian project. We have to rejig our strategy and the tactics of fighting corruption. Our entire criminal laws have to be thoroughly appraised and updated so that those aspects that are primordial and out of turn with modern trends can be reviewed. This exercise, which has to be collaboratively be done by the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, should not be made an ad hoc affair. As new trends emerge day in, day out, such effort will largely help to completely phase out those archaic criminal laws that are antithetical to modern civilization. It is always embarrassing when some of our overzealous security agents hurriedly bring the suspects to court without due diligence or any iota of preliminary investigations. In most cases, it is when the trial commences that they begin to look for evidence to prosecute them. This act is not only condemnable, but also a major cog in the wheel of speedy dispensation of justice. It is equally accounted for the high number of cases pending in our courts across the nation. We need to borrow a leaf from other climes where things are done rightly with the expertise, commitment required, so that we don't keep repeating the same mistakes and expect to make progress in our criminal justice administration, especially in the fight against corruption. There's nowhere in the world where the court grants the praise that are not sought for, because we always say that the court is not a Father Christmas. We only grant what is asked for. Therefore, it is not possible to put something on nothing and expect it to stand. This occasion offers us yet another sterling opportunity to holistically examine our mode of operation with a view to charting a workable pathway to success in this Herculean task of ridding our country of corruption. The judiciary is ever poised to deploy every relevant legal tool at its disposal to whittle down the strength of corruption in our mindset. No nation can survive with corruption at the center of our conscience. We have over the years handled several corruption cases and given complimentary judgments to convey a strong message to those with insuperable penchant of corruption in the country. It is a record that between 2015 and 2020, some governors, ministers, senators, civil servants, among others, have variously been jailed by the courts and also made to forfeit the looted funds and access to the government. It was as a result of our firm resolve to completely plight the fortunes of corruption in the country that we inaugurated the Corruption and Financial Crime Cases Trial Monitoring Committee, COMTRIMCO, headed by one of our retired justices, Honorable Justice Galadima. The committee is to monitor the trial of corruption and financial crimes across the country. This is to put the designated judges on their toes as their efforts and outputs are now being closely monitored by COMTRIMCO. The results we are getting from the committee are quite impressive and accelerating. Between 2017 and 2020, the Supreme Court has disposed of 52 corruption and financial cases, Now, within the same time frame, the Court of Appeal had disposed of 121 cases. The Federal High Court disposed of 19 cases. High Courts of the Federal Capital Territory, 10 cases. And all state high courts, almost 188 cases. The judiciary has long been a dependable ally of the ICPC, and we are giving our best to the relationship so that our country could once again be the envy of other nations, and as well scale the ladder to occupy its rightful position among the Committee of Nations. Surely, our green, white, green national flag shall soon be hoisted among those countries where trust, honesty, and integrity take the center stage of their national lives. Nigeria must remain to be great. Thank you.
Freedom,